First day of the rebound REM period, whatever you want to call it, and I didn't have a dream yet. So basically, that's all the news I got. So it's REM Rebound 2. My dreaming is starting to come back, but very vague though. I had a dream when I landed on an airport and I met my good friend Alegria Turassa with her boyfriend, and they offered to give me a ride home. But on the ride home we went up a snowy mountain to check out the view. This is probably Austria, I'm not really sure. And we went to IKEA and we sat on a rooftop cafe, and they were sitting and Alegria went to do some sort of fair ride, like there was some sort of fair ride where she was supposed to, yeah, it was for free, and she was doing it. I was sitting there with her boyfriend, and all of a sudden our chairs shot up in the air, like there's an attraction in the Swedish or the theme park in Stockholm called Gröna Lund, that's called Uppskjutet, and they shoot you up in the air like 40 meters or whatever. But the only problem this time was that I wasn't attached to my chair, so I was just sort of trying to hold on, and I remember that I was holding on by 2 fingers and it kept slipping off. And then after that we were back at the rooftop cafe of IKEA, and there was a big group of people standing around us, and I think they wanted to throw us out because they were closing, but at the same time there was it's like a band playing, and I can't really remember what the music was, but I remember I thought like it was one continuous sound, and I thought that it was really interesting. And I remember Alegria's boyfriend touching one of the instruments and getting told that he shouldn't. And yeah, and then I was telling somebody, I think I was getting a ride back to the airport, and I was telling somebody, like we were passing the same part of the mountain that we'd been on, and I saw a football, and I didn't remember the football from before, but it seemed like it was we had brought it there the first time I was there. So I told them about that. That's it. And it was, but I have to say it's very vague, very, very vague, all the dreams. Day 3 of the rebound project. I haven't experienced any rebound yet, and I'm starting to worry that that it won't happen, and that this project is a bit of a failed project. But I thought I could explain what I'm doing here. Well, what happened was this. I about 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, I went to Italy, and prior to that, I'd been smoking. I've been smoking a lot of weed. And what happens when you smoke a lot of weed and then stop is that you have what's called a rebound period. And a rebound period is a period of when your brain is trying to catch up on your dreaming, because when you smoke weed or take antidepressants or sleeping pills, you suppress dream sleep. And what happens is that your brain for about 3 weeks tries to recover this dream sleep, which results in crazy dreaming for that period of time, really vivid dreams. And I thought, since this happened to me and it had happened to me before, I thought I could induce this state and then record every dream I had and then see what I could do with those dreams, or what I could get out of those dreams. So as you can see here, I have a schedule where there is 41 days crossed off of smoking morning, lunch, and evening. It was supposed to be 45 days, but the last 4 days were cancelled due to lack of funds. And here I have the rebound schedule, which is exactly 3 weeks. And I'll think about continuing it if my rebound period doesn't stop. As it's looking now, it hasn't even started yet, so hopefully it starts. Let's hope I have some fucked up dreams by tomorrow. See. Well, we'll see, I guess. So here we go, guys. REM Sleep 4. Or Rebound Project 4, I guess. Starting to happen. I remember climbing down a mountain on the side of the mountain in Salzburg with my mom, and she told me I had good grip. I remember trying to find the way down the same mountain with a car and a bunch of chicks that I had no idea about, and the chicks couldn't find the way down. They kept saying that it wasn't. I kept telling them what to do, and all of a sudden my parents were in the car, and all of a sudden we drove into an alley, and there was mushrooms, and there was a mushroom that looked like a elephant. I remember trying to do my job, rolling burritos, but there was a huge sofa in front of the bain-marie and the steamer where my boss was sitting, and he seemed like he didn't care that I couldn't do my job. I remember being in Stockholm and walking along some train tracks, and hiding from the police. They were trying to get me off the train tracks. And to get off the train tracks myself, I had to get off the train tracks myself, I had to go through a house where I met where I saw a chick, and she was there with a guy. I think the girl was Eva, a friend of mine. And they were dancing at the same time as they were taking off their clothes, and it was apparent that they were a part of some secret society, or she asked me if I was part of this society, and I remember going on an airplane with my homeboy Egon Elliott, and my headmaster trying to get me an airplane ticket, but he couldn't get me an airplane ticket. So he got me an airplane ticket, but I didn't really know how he got me the airplane ticket. And then when I got on the airplane, it was apparent that they thought that I was press, and they were trying to show off the airplane to me. And we walked around the airplane. The last row of the airplane was in a really nice marbled bathroom in the back of the airplane. I also remember a guy walking down the aisle of the airplane with his dick in his hand. And they sat me up in the front of the in the airplane, and they said that I wasn't allowed to turn around or to make jokes out loud. And they said that there was an American press crew on there, and I said aha, and the flight attendant thought that was really funny. I also remember that she at some point she gave me this ring where I could stick a cigarette through and smoke cigarettes on the airplane. And I remember that when we got off the plane, we went to some friends of my parents, or some friends when I was living in Spain, new flat in Stockholm, in Mallorca, and I realized in the flat that I had forgotten my keys and my bag and my jacket. And I was also on the airplane. I was wearing one of these shitty leather jackets that all journalists wear. I think that's about it. I think that's but it's definitely starting to happen. REM sleep day 4. Okay, REM sleep day 4. It's not a very good day today. I dreamt that there was a huge rock, like about this size, in this corner, and that I could move it around by just putting a towel under it, and that we cut the top off of it and made a table a lot like a Fabian Westhoff table, and that the top of the rock became a plateau that you could sit on and hang out. And I remember thinking in the dream that I would like this in real life. It wasn't like a lucid dream or anything, but but I remember in the dream that I thought it. And I remember I thought about Dan Colin as well. And the room was about 2 or 3 meters wider than it is now. Oh, actually, it's day 5, isn't it? Well, okay. Day 5. So it's day 6 then. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know if my rebound period is over, or if it hasn't started yet, or if I didn't smoke enough weed for it to be suppressed enough, but I definitely feel like I smoked enough weed, that's for sure. But however, I didn't have a dream tonight. I think maybe I woke up exactly at the moment so I wouldn't remember the dream. But it felt good. More to come. So it's rebound 7. I dreamt about I was working in an office space in London with a lot of computers in it, and you had to be quiet, but I wasn't quiet, and somehow so did the man, so I didn't really have to give a shit. there was this huge fridge in the office with a lot of really crazy big fruit and cheese, and there was pasta spread out all in between it. Our boss came up and said that there was a party downstairs in the garden. I climbed out on a terrace that was outside of the window. The people came out from the office across from ours and asked if anybody wanted an iPad, and nobody answered them, so they went in again. And then after a while they came out again and they said, "Is anybody taking this iPad?" And they just threw it over on the yard. And this girl took it, and she was with another girl that I used to go to high school with. She's called Caroline, and she was sort of the hot girl of the class. And Caroline was really happy that the other girl got the iPad, or she was really happy for the other girl. And I said something to her about, yeah, that was nice, or like that you know, that she's so graceful or some shit. And yeah, and then Caroline and another friend of hers were sitting on top of me down at the party. They said, they asked me if I was still painting, and I said yes, I'm making big shit now. And she asked, what, like 3 by 2 meters? And I said no, 2 by 150, which is true in real life. And after that, I walked down the street with a rich guy, and he was talking about architecture. He was laughing about a building. And he said you can't do symmetry with kitchens, and that kitchens have to have a slightly slimmer window than the rest of the house, even if it looks weird on the outside. And we walked to a place where there was a sauna, or there was 3 saunas, but there was like the one sauna, and then the next level sauna, and then the next level sauna. And I walked into the sauna and I thought I'd just go to the 3rd level straight away, because I'm Swedish, you know. And in there, they were burning these huge plastic pipes to keep the sauna going. But the air was so crazy in there that you couldn't breathe. So I tried to go out to the other saunas, but by then they had started to burn that plastic in there as well. And after that, I went to some fancy place, and I was sitting outside of the fancy place with my working colleague Eric, and he said that this is so high. He said that this is so high strung that I can see the most expensive apartment's bathroom from like 50 miles away or something like that. And yeah, then I took the bus through London. And that was it. What is it, day 8 now? I had a dream I was in Kottbussetorp, but it was in London, and like pretty much everybody was black, and I was carrying something around, I can't remember what, and I found a wallet, and somebody said, like, the guy who had lost the wallet had his picture on a carpet that was rolled up. It was a black guy as well, and he was wearing a beanie. And he was like the most neutral black guy ever. Yeah, I was like, I kept going because somebody told me I had to. It was my turn now to do something good for people. And so I was walking around looking for this guy so I could give him his wallet, but really. Everybody looked the same, like, and when then I walked into the store, and there was a radio station playing, and there was this Swedish radio host. I think he was a Swedish radio host that was trying to sort of make it in as speaking English, you know. And I realized that that either the guy that was being interviewed by the radio host or the guy that was working as a radio host after the Swedish radio host was the guy who'd lost his wallet, but I didn't give it to him. So it's day 8. Day 9. And I had a not so potent dream. But I dreamt I was at a birthday party for someone, and pretty much all my friends in Berlin were there, and once everybody was sort of a little bit drunk, it was outside. We were sitting. It was like outside on the sidewalk, and once everybody was. It's probably the Mexican place called Chaparro. I don't know though. And from there, we were supposed to be taken with one of these like carriages that were drawn by a horse, but a huge one. But for some reason, I chose to walk. So I arrived at the same time as the carriage was like riding up the stairs of the bathing house in a place called Medborgarplatsen in Stockholm. Everybody was happy, and I remember I was worried that I wasn't gonna be able to get in. And once in there, for some reason, I was sitting there naked, and there was a blonde girl who I don't know who she is, but I thought I was with my ex-girlfriend, and and this girl was sort of very, very overtly trying to sort of almost like sexually flirt with me. And since I was naked, it was hard to sort of stave off the erection. And she was getting annoyed that I wasn't into it, that I was trying to sort of avoid it. And I remember at some point I had a bathing suit on. And that's about it. So I think it's day 10. And today was by far the most successful day, but obviously also because of that the worst day. It's the first day today that I'm wishing I could just smoke a joint and go to sleep and be sure I wouldn't have to dream. I think I'm gonna just upload, because what I do is when I wake up, I record the dreams for myself, so I will remember them, and I won't lie about them to you guys or to YouTube or whatever. Like nobody's watching this, but whatever. I think that what I'll do is I'll just upload those videos, and they're really slow. But especially the second dream is really like terribly lucid, you know, horribly lucid. Well, I guess that's it. Enjoy. I was at a food, like I was at a food festival. I was at a food festival in some sort of tent where there was a kitchen, where the kitchen of Burrito Baby, where I worked. was closed down, but it was there in the tent. Carl, a working colleague, came over. Came over and said that the other guy at work that does the job I do, I roast burritos when I'm not there. I was fucking up and it was too busy. And I said I couldn't go. I couldn't be rolling burritos all night. I asked him if I should go and help, and he said he didn't know, and that I shouldn't. And I said I can't be rolling burritos all night. And I walked around the festival with my ex-girlfriend, and everything was sort of half closed. And I was walking over to the area where the burrito baby tent was at, and we couldn't find the area, or we saw it but we couldn't get there. We had to climb through some shit. And on the way there was sort of a bacon wrapped something with bread that you could get, which looked pretty good, but it wasn't warm still. And it was like hanging on a roll between two sticks. And it was a little bit rolled out, and there was two girls standing on part of it. But when I was eating it, I took off the part that they were standing on. And then when we got to when I got to a part where there was a lake, and there was all these I don't know what they're called, the things that the turtles live under. And I could hear my friend Fuad and some other friends sort of echoing from under them, so I pulled it up. Then my friend Resi came out of there. And hugged me and my ex-girlfriend, and we span around for a while. I was wearing some sort of military hood, like a military jacket that was covering my whole face, and some sunglasses. And and she said, we'll see each other later. And then we went to some sort of bunker there where they had sewing machines. There was all this Arabic kids hanging around. and apparently the bottom of the lids for street wells had silver on them, and they showed me, like Rusty pulled a piece off, a huge piece of silver off, and people started freaking out and trying to get some of the silver. And then the kids that were there, one of the kids had sunglasses, and he put on the sunglasses, and they were filming him as saying something, and filming him. One of the other kids, a small fat one, was sitting on a shelf trying to film him. Or they were filming some video where he was going to say something about the silver. And a friend Lauren, he asked them if we could film as well. And they thought that was a good idea. So he filmed it. And while they were filming, while the other guy was talking right into the camera, that the other kid's camera. And I remember a kid leaning in and snatching a small piece of the silver parts. It was a really feverish lucid dream where I was walking around in a huge Stockholm-like area that was way too much where there was way too much nature. And I was walking, and I realized I was lucid because at some point, because I realized I couldn't conjure the place. I didn't know where home was. And it didn't just happen, like it didn't just come at me. And then I was walking around on a field, and there was these big dogs there. And I realized that if I for even one moment just thought about that these dogs could attack me and that they weren't afraid of me, they would. And so I got really aggressive with these dogs, and I was sort of suppressing the thought of them becoming aggressive with me. And then I went into a house with a guy. I was writing sort of WhatsApp messages with a guy, and then I came into his house. We did this horrible thing where he said, "How much do you trust your hands?" And he threw knives at me. No, before that we went into a I was really aggressive with everyone to like sort of keep them in check, like to know that I was in control. And we went into the back, and he told me that this was the sick room, the guy told me this was the sick room. And I was horrible towards the sick people. But mostly because I was scared. I didn't want to lose grip of the dream. So I kept in control by being overly very aggressive. And then the guys said, had a big beard. He said, "How much do you trust your hands?" And he took like a bunch of different looking knives on the table and threw them at me, but he missed. He didn't try to hit me, I think. But then I just, and he said, "Oh, now it's your turn." And I think he was trying to say that I was gonna miss. But I just picked up one of these things and walked after him and just fucking pounded on his head. Like fucking wailed on it with one of these knives until he was laying on the ground crying, asking me to kill him. And I didn't kill him. I didn't kill him because I tried to let him suffer. And then I woke up and I had this panicky moment when I realized, when I looked at my phone and I realized that the WhatsApp and that I had been writing all the messages that I had been writing in the WhatsApp with this guy, and all the messages that the guy had been writing were deleted, but they had been written, and then I wondered who the hell had been writing those messages. And I got really, really panicked. And then I realized, the dream got out of my hands, because then I woke up and I realized I don't have a phone. And I don't ever use WhatsApp. So now at rebound 11, it's the exact midpoint of this project. And I had a dream where I was simultaneously watching like a documentary about a tribe where they had this race where they sent about, like I was watching it and experiencing it. They sent out, it was maybe like 8 or 12 of us, and you ran, and then they sent out the hunters after you, and they had like this voodoo shit going on with all these skulls and whatever, and obviously bow and arrows, but as you were running you could sort of hear the documentary narrator. Like there was one moment where I was squeezing through some sort of, it's like almost like bamboo, but it was really tight, and this guy was coming after me, and I saw this shot of him shooting the bow and arrow into a tree, and the narrator of the documentary said that they do that because only the sharpest of arrows are fit for human beings. But once I squeezed through this thing, I jumped into a river and sort of floated down it. And I got up on a bridge, and there was this like German or doctor with like a very German or Austrian accent, and somebody said that he was a good like, basically how this race worked was that if you didn't die, you won. And once I got up there, I sort of started feeling a bit safe. And somebody said that he was a good doctor, and he said, like he was standing like this, and he said, "The best doctor in the world," and that's about it. That's all I remember. Oh, and I also had, but that was sort of a vaguer dream where I had a fight with my mom in Kenya because she was sort of inventing things that I had said, but I didn't. And then when I called her out on it, she got pissed off because she thought I was being sort of picky, or like nitpicky. So, day 12, and I dreamt that I was in my childhood friend's Max's home. I was sleeping in his sister's room, but there was, like, it wasn't the same bed. However, she was turning. Her brother came in, and he was super overweight, which he wasn't in real life. Her brother came in and decided that realized that she was turning 18, so she was gonna decide the elections. Like, her vote was gonna decide the elections, and it was really obvious that she was gonna vote left. And yeah, and I also remember that she had like this television in the corner where she put music on. She was wearing tights, and she was trying to sort of, I guess, like twerk, but she wasn't. She was really terrible at it. Like she was just sort of like shaking her butt from side to side, and doing. She also did like suggestive poses on the bed. And then her brother came in again, and yelled at me for not wearing serious underwear. And I told him I am wearing serious underwear. And I was wearing like double underwear. And he asked me if I changed them before he came in. And yeah, I can't remember more than that. It was also, there was like a montage situation where their dad was sitting with a laptop at the kitchen table, really pissed off and really busy, which was supposed to sort of cast doubt on the fact that maybe they weren't very left wing. And then there was another part of that montage where the dad wins a race against these sort of radio controlled cars, but by sitting on like some sort of wagon with his knees and pushing with his hands, which was basically supposed to say that they were left wing. And then I had another dream, which I feel a bit ashamed about, but I'll say it anyway. I went to some. I went to. There was like a sex. There was the craze going on about the 50 Shades of Grey thing, and my mom wanted to go to a sex shop and check stuff out. And I don't remember a lot from the sex shop at all. I remember there was a lot of people there, and I was thinking, shit, this book really fucking made it happen.
But I also remember that there was like a television and some sofas. There was a clown type of guy sleeping in one of the sofas, and my mom went laid down next to this clown guy, and she thought that that was sort of funny and a little bit out there. That's all. That's it. Day 13. I had two dreams which sort of merged into one at some point. I was organizing a football game. It was all women. I was the only guy. And then some guys showed up, so we sort of left. And then then I met some little kid. There was like this kid sitting outside acting real gangster, and he had like all these rings laying around. I remember we took the rings out of under something, and he kept hanging around me. And then when I got home, I was sitting on my roof, and this kid somehow found my place, and he was still acting really gangstery, you know. And at some point we were listening to music in my living room, and he I think he tried to touch my dick or something like that. Like he really wanted to, and then he got really ashamed that I wasn't gay or whatever. And I didn't really feel any way about it. I was like, okay, whatever, dude. But he left. And then this was now the like second dream starts. I had no money, and I was selling paintings under the moniker Mo Cash. And I'd spent all my money in rent. Like my landlord came, and my landlord was Claudia Comte for some reason. And yeah, and she said I wasn't a serious person, but because I didn't have any money. But I felt I was a serious person because I'd given her all my money so I could stay in the house. And I was sitting at the kitchen table, like I'm sitting now, discussing that with Egon Elliott. And yeah, that was the dream. So it's day 14, 2 weeks in, which means we have 1 week left. And I can tell that the dreaming is becoming more spotty, and like in the mornings it's becoming more difficult to remember what I dreamed. Like I have to record it like that to remember, and even then it's really hard. Well, the first dream I had was like there was something that was, I'm not sure where this was, but there was something, maybe Mallorca. There was something that was sort of in between a war and a riot, and somebody was making the plan, and from there it sort of followed the story of some sort of young offender guy that was in his sort of young offenders program, where he had to ride a Segway around, and I remember there was mountains that were like tops of cupcakes or something. I mean, that you could sort of ride up all the way to the top, circle up, and there, he was around elite athletes all the time. And second dream was easier though. Like second dream as I came is the normal shit, you know, girls, the friends, places. But I came around some corner. There was my friend Lauren was trying to ollie down the waterfall, which was like maybe 7, 8 meters. And I thought he was gonna die, but he sort of almost made it. He didn't really land it, but it was fine. And somehow he clumsily lost his skateboard into the pool. And there was a police officer, and I think the police officer was Hessler Castro Valles, another friend, and he dived into the pool to get the skateboard, and he got it and sort of lifted it up, and Lauren said thank you, and that he should go over and sit down with a chick that was sitting there topless, and the police did, but he was looking. They were talking to each other, but he was looking the other way, like really casually, but you could tell he was looking the other way for other reasons than to be casual. And for some reason I was on top of a villa, of the roof of a villa, and I was looking across to some sort of vacant building, and there was a girl on top of that building that jumped. There was like a girl, there was a building, girl, tree, and she jumped from the building, sort of trying to tackle the tree, and landed on the side like that, and I thought, shit, that's hardcore. And for some reason I was forced, I can't remember why, I was forced off the roof onto another roof that was leaning like this. It was like one of these in the stairs in the subway, like what are they called, the mechanical stairs. You can get on the in-between thing, and the roof looked like a lot like that. So we got on that thing, and it just started sliding really, really quickly, and somehow I managed to stop, and the other guy, I remember he was saying my ass, but he didn't manage to stop, and it was like in Jackass when I think it's Bam Margera that just shoots off the end of it. And he shoots off the end of it to a garden and hits a guy sitting there having some sort of lunch. So I really feel like this is the least interesting dream. This is the least interesting day, but maybe it's because I'm getting tired of my own dreams. Yeah. I said it was day 14. This is day 15. And this is what it seems like it's gonna be from now on, me crossing off the days. Because the dreaming is not very interesting anymore. But I'm gonna write out the product because that's how we do it in Sweden. However, I was at and I only remember small spots. I was at a beach with a camel. A guy was trying to rent me a camel. I didn't rent it. I was walking up a stairwell with a French girl. I was going on a car trip with my ex-girlfriend, and and we stopped at a guy called Louis' house, which wasn't his real house. I heard an amazing William Basinski song in there that doesn't exist in real life, and I wish I remembered more properly. It was like boo 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 but like sort of in a more orchestral type of arrangement. And I was waiting for her to come out of the bathroom or something so we could leave, but she didn't ever come out. And I was watching a reality show where it was like a Chinese version of The Bachelor, and it was this thing in China that where if you move your feet, like when you're happy about something, you move your feet, and when people got happy about getting picked or getting a rose or something like that, they moved their feet, but it seemed like they weren't so, like it wasn't like, it was like a fake smile, but the depth in moving their feet, you know. Yeah, that's it. No, no bad feelings if you stop watching from now on. It's day 16, and either I'm out here to signal some sort of liberation and whatever the plants can mean, or I'm out here to disguise that I didn't actually have a dream tonight, or I did, but the only thing I remember was that I was painting something yellow. But you know, I told you guys, it's over now, but it feels good. It's been sort of a little bit exhausting to try to record everything, to record the first thing when you get up in the morning. But it was good. What is it now? If it's day 16, so it's like 5 days left. So it's day 17. I was at my ex-girlfriend's friend's house. She was suggesting my ex-girlfriend buy some filter package for some editing program for 20,000 euros. And she was having margaritas. And my ex-girlfriend was taking a bath. And then we were in a car park that looked like some sort of Aztec pyramid. And when we were trying to get down from the car park, we couldn't find the way to the mall or shopping center that we were trying to get to. We were walking around this Aztec car park, and there was horses, like racing horses, riding around with jockeys that were super small. And the horses kept coming up to me. That's all I remember. Day 18 of the Rebound Project. I had a dream where I was in my first school's hallways, and I remember the doors were creaky, but there was no subject matter.
And even if there was, I probably wouldn't remember it. Rebound 19, and I dreamt I walked through some really, it was a hotel in Illetas, Mallorca, there where it was really empty, there was nobody in there, but it was a piano player. When I came out of the hotel, people were standing around with 2 kids, and the 2 kids asked if they could borrow deodorant, I think, and I borrowed them the deodorant, and then I forgot to take it back. And when I walked up to another hotel where my parents were, there was like I think my mom asked to borrow the deodorant, and then I realized, shit, I left it with the kids. So I went to get it back from the kids, but they were on an airplane already. But I went on the airplane to get it back, and I accidentally flew to the Virgin Islands with them. I remember sitting in the seat going, shit, now there's no way to get off this plane before they're where they're supposed to be. So then when I came back from my plane trip, they were really pissed off at me at the hotel where I was apparently working, and they were making jokes about me as well. And I remember hanging out with a black guy, and he was sticking rocks into foam to make it look like sand, like the rocks were laying in sand. And I remember there was a huge stairwell, and I remember going up to a working colleague, Javier's flat, that was a few floors up, and he was painting, and he was really proud that he was really active. That was his thing. And I remember hanging out with a rich person that was sort of taking care of me somehow, or like that wasn't very clear, but it didn't feel like I had to feel ashamed that I was poor. That was the thing. And she had some sort of basic respect for me. Yeah, I think that's it.
Rebound 20, no dream. So it's REM sleep 21. It's the end of the project. As you can see here, the 21 days are filled. 21 days, off of which 4. 3 in the first 4 days, and 1 in the last 2 days where I didn't have a dream. And I'll tell you the dream, and then later today the sort of a conclusion video will come. I dreamt, it's vague dreams, but I dreamt that I was at a party in my friend Carl's flat, and we were making noodle soup, but we were also cooking rice in like a, I don't know what you call it, like a baño Maria, like when you boil something, when you put a pot in a kettle that's boiling. And that's about it. I remember his flatmate was also telling us to be quiet while we were doing it. And in the second dream, there was a guy running from the cops, and in all types of weird ways, and he was jumping off a building, like a really, really high building. He was doing whatever, but it was like a futile run. Like there was so many cops around, and there was helicopters and everything. So like he was gonna get caught, but at least he was trying. I guess that was the point. So that's it, done. Conclusion video is coming, but that's it. Nobody will have to listen to my dreams anymore, and if you did listen to my dreams, I'm really happy you did, and it's over. You never have to do it again. Okay, here we go. It's the conclusion video of the Rebound project. I thought I'd make a video about what I've learned during this project, which I think the honest answer would be nothing, which is also interesting. And I'm sure there's ayahuasca hobbyists out there that will tell me that I'm wrong, or maybe you're Freudian and you'll tell me that the dogs are my dad, or the guy with the beard is my mom, or whatever. But really, I'm trying to be straightforward here. And as I said, nothing is also interesting. It seems to me that dreaming, there's no predicting power in dreams, even though it seems like sometimes that you can see the future in there. And I think the reason why you can see the future is because you have imagined the future earlier in the day. And usually the future you see isn't actually the real future, as we all know. And it also seemed the sort of connecting process in a dream seems way more arbitrary than it's it can seem meaningful to you. And the more vivid the dreams, I noticed this in I think it's maybe like, we'll say like video 9 to video 10. The more intense the dreaming, the more meaningless it became. In the end, when I started to dream normally again, I could usually connect the dreams to sort of things that I had thought about during the day, or other things that I'd seen, or something like that. While when the intense dream was happening, it just seemed like a meaningless flow of stuff, which is not. It's obviously not meaningless. It's something, and but it's not meaning in the sense that the ayahuasca jerks think. However, it also seems like the flow of things is very much more arbitrary. It isn't. It's not trying to tell you some sort of truth, or speak about things that you in your subconscious or whatever. It almost works like rhymes, it's not like that. If you dream like a train, dream about a train, you're gonna dream about rain next, but it's almost like the same sort of process. The mind is sort of lazy in that way. It'll just step from one thing to the next one, do the easiest step. And of course you think about you have dreams about things that seem meaningful because they're things that you're suppressing. But the reason you have dreams about these things is it feels like you have dreams about these things because you probably you're not suppressing the thought well enough. Like the absence of something in your actions or in your speech is not the absence of it in your mind. And if it's in your mind, it can be in your dreams. yeah, I think if I was supposed to sort of sum up what this project has taught me is that dreaming is just as arbitrary and boring as life is. It's more than a psychedelic song. It's like a Beckett novel, maybe, where things are just going on for the sake of going on. There is no secret. It's just going on for itself. And what would I say? What do you say in like in the end of these sort of projects? It's, maybe like and subscribe, or comment or something. I I don't know. Actually, I don't really care. It's cool if you leave a comment. So next project. I'll see you guys.